Yo.
Hey, El Cappo. So you gotta throw it out to the side like that when you do
it. More famous.
Swirl famous. What's going on, my man, my mellow?
Oh man, I'm just getting on the mic because you know I eat Jello.
That's gonna go over a lot of people's heads.
They don't know about Biz Marquee, man.
Go over a lot of people's heads,
they
man.
don't know about Biz Marquee.
That's the king for the diabolical.
The diabolical. Yeah,
yes,
man.
Man. This is historic right here for me. That's a little insider, ladies and gentlemen. Little insider. This is historic for me. All right.
Yeah. We out here making history.
You know it.
Daily.
You know it. My man.
Yeah.
So, excuse me.
I want y'all to know first off right now, we did an episode, man, and you know, he had his goatee going on, and he told me, because I was clean shaven at the time, and he told me I was jealous because he was getting his zaddy on.
Yep.
So,
he was. You were. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay.
It's okay.
Now the tables turned, and I had to shave mine off.
Mm-hmm. And you know, obviously over here, you see it.
I see you, dog. I see
you. See it.
I see you, my man. You know what? I'm feeling a tad bit jealous right now, but it is what it is for now.
Now, I used to be one that would say jealousy is a weak emotion, but I will say this: jealousy is a good indicator of what you want from life.
Wow.
So if you're jealous of something, that's your heart telling you I designed that for myself.
Wow. The coach is in. The coach is in. There it is. He's dropping gems. Ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
Yeah, man.
Man, listen, it's been a minute since we've done this. Happy to be back on. Us making this magic happen. I believe it's magic. Hopefully everyone else thinks it's magic when they hear us and when they see us. So a lot going on, especially in our lives, our individual lives, but somehow it seems like our lives a lot of times will line up the very same way, almost in this time, pretty much at the same time, which is going to be our topic of discussion tonight. Transitions, man. Just making life transitions is crazy. So much to unpack, especially if you're taking the time to be transparent about it, because you know how it is. You see things one way, but you never really know what the background is when people are doing things. So I think this is an opportunity for us to give people a little background, a little insider.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, so eloquently said, man. One of the big transitions that we're both navigating right now is retiring from our individual components of the Air Force. And
Right.
this is something that has been part of both of our lives for decades. This
Decades,
isn't.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this isn't. And the difficulty of so many major points in life where, children born while we were serving, marriages, divorces, personal milestones that we reached. And then that whole time, our service has been continuous. And now, man, we out
Yeah.
here, doing our Aladdin thing. It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world, man. It is something too.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
something.
definitely, definitely.
If you haven't, if you're someone who hasn't taken the time to kind of see what it takes to do it, you've seen, like, I know personally, we both have, we've seen other people at this point in their lives and in their careers, and when they begin transitioning out and moving on to something new, right? And you can look at that in a couple ways, depending on, what your outlook on life is. If you're someone who can, find yourself being somewhat negative or whatever else you're looking at, you're going to look at it from a negative standpoint. But if you're someone who's optimistic, you're looking at it as an opportunity to grow and do something different. So I think that's the side we're both trying to be on, be as optimistic as possible, because it's another life. We're about to start another life, man.
Absolutely. So transparency, sure. And it is extremely acceptable to deal with some trepidation, some
Uh-huh.
nervousness.
Yeah.
It's the unknown. It is the unknown.
Yeah.
But I think we definitely want to unpack it transparently, but we do also want to caution. And this is something I say all the time, like don't forego unfamiliar heavens for familiar hells, And a lot
Yeah.
of times it's not even better or worse, it's just different.
Right.
And we'll latch on to different, not knowing that the opportunities for greatness that lie in that transition. I mean, what's the old church song? Time is filled with swift transitions. You know what I'm saying? So that's life. Transitions are a part of life. And quick analogy, man. You seeing folks that they grow older and they don't accept that transition. They try to hold on to their glory days, and that always goes badly. But if you navigate transitions with grace and with courage, which we're definitely going to talk about, it turns out good. I mean, it turns out good. It don't always feel good, but I promise you, it turns out good. It turns out good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And again, just your actual your outlook on it, and the way I look at challenges, tests, things along that line, is when the way you go through it really depend. It really makes a difference as to how you come out of it. If you're going through and having an issue and going through a process, and you're not going through that process well, when you come out of it, what have you actually learned? What have you gotten from the process? Because that's important. It's so important. I'm definitely a process person. I believe in processes. I believe life is one big process made up of smaller processes. So when you accomplish or get through certain points, you have to look back and see what you learned from it. So I know we both have, from the sideline, we've seen other people. So now it's our time. It's our time to go through this process. And I believe, I mean, I'm always optimistic and believing that we're both going to do well. There are other people in front of us who've done well. Why wouldn't we? I think that's as simple as it gets. Why not us? So now the preparation part of it is really important.
Absolutely.
Preparing for those things that are coming. Now, I think it depends on your personality as to how you approach it. And I know how I am. When I see certain things coming before me, it's like, oh boy, yeah. And I find myself getting anxious. And in those times you can do a couple things. You can attack it, or you can kind of allow it to happen. And I found myself in some circumstances doing both, kind of letting things happen, and then attacking certain things. So where I'm moving, the direction I'm moving in right now, it's getting better. It's getting better because I find myself being somewhat nostalgic in certain areas about certain things. So with that being the case, um, I have to intentionally push myself in the proper direction so that I can get the proper outcome from it. Because if not, when you sit back and you just allow certain things to happen, you don't know what the outcome is, and you have very little part in that process. So that's kind of where I am right now, trying to find that balance as to when to attack or when to let it happen.
And there's a lot to unpack there. So because you're right, you have to. There's got to be a balance. You don't want to. And we got all the. That's your nephew back there cutting up in the background, but you gotta attack it in the sense of having a strategy, having a plan, having an end game, visualize all that. So you got tools of attack, but then there's also a part of letting it happen. Like we both played sports, and what the coach always say, Frazier, let the game come
Let the
to you.
game come to you.
So yeah, man, that attack it or let it happen. Like I definitely would never say going because my anxiety too flares. I mean, especially doing what we've done and living the lives that we've led, high level leadership,
Uh-huh.
mentoring, coaching. Um,
Yeah.
we have both put ourselves on the hook to be responsible for others at every step
Mhm.
of the way.
Yeah.
And you can't live a life of that type of stature and with that kind of demand on you and not suffer from some anxiety disorder
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
you're always on. People are always
Always,
dependent on you. So
that's it right there. You're always
yeah.
on. You're always
Mhm.
on. And you always feel like you have to keep things at a certain level. And then sometimes what can be lost in that is your own personal humanity. It's like I'm human. Like I'm, yeah. And recognizing your own frailties during that time and being okay with that. Because just like you said, being at certain levels of leadership, you have people who you have to make sure that things go well for, processes work properly, projects work, all these things, because you're on the hook. So when you get to that point, I know for me personally, I always put people in front of me, people, my family, uh, people who work for me, whoever. I put people before me, and I always put myself last. So because I always feel like as long as they get what they need, I can always take care of me. That's the way I feel.
Listen, I've seen this in action. I've
Yeah,
seen it too many times. That
yeah.
brother will put everybody in front of himself.
So and that's one of my, that's one of my it's a blind spot for me, and something that I have to, I have to be better about, because when these opportunities come out, or when it's me, when it's my time, when it seems like it should be my time, I don't always allow myself to have that time, and I have to be better about that.
Yes, you do. We no, yeah, no. It's you know, and we're getting into that leadership part. Obviously, that would get us all in our bag. But the transition part,
Mhm.
that's probably what makes some transitions more difficult than others because it's like we've spent our careers taking care of others, and now
Uh-huh.
literally being told it's time for you to take care of you. And it's like, what does that look like? What does that like? What is that taking care of me? I mean, I'm literally out processing. I would walk into work and people would look at me like, what are you doing here? You supposed to be. And I was like, you expect me to just let this go? Like,
Oh, that happened to me this week right here. This week right here, but someone would stop by the office and be like, "I thought you were already gone. Why are you here?" Got a couple more things to do, and now I have to look. I have to look at myself and say, "You know what? Do I really have these things to do, or can I just not let it go?" That's
exactly.
the challenge.
It's probably more, well, not probably. Listen, it's crazy because I say these things, but I don't apply them. But I have long said, make sure you're taking care of yourself, because if you passed away tomorrow, they'd have your job announced before your obituary was written. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I say that, but it's almost like I don't hear it.
It's always, man, again, because we're in the business of helping others, making sure other people are good, that we forget about it, man. Like we put ourselves in the background. And I know you said I do it, but obviously you do it as well. We put ourselves in the background, man. We do. We place people before us. And it's kind of what we intrinsically do. Can't help it. So now here's our process to learn how to make ourselves, even if it takes smaller steps. We have to learn to put ourselves in the forefront, and not from a selfish standpoint, but from the standpoint of meeting our own personal needs and being okay with that. Because I'm telling you, man, there's so many times we find ourselves not being okay with certain things that we should be okay with. Why? Because society, our families, anyone else makes things seem a certain way. But we have to switch that paradigm, make a shift, and make sure that we know, even from a mental health standpoint. And this is a perfect time to speak about mental health.
Absolutely.
From a mental health standpoint, we really have to make sure that we are okay. If we want to continue doing the things that we do to take care of the people we want to take care of, ourselves included, yeah, we have to be mentally okay, and we have to move in that direction.
Absolutely. I listen. I'm not trying to put your business out here, but I'm gonna say what I gotta say, man. This brother here is again, what, next year will be 20 years of friendship, and to me, he's always seemed like, and not seen, I don't want to say he's not, but just one of the strongest, most solid people I've ever known. Like, it just always seems like it's all right. And then to have the privilege of you know, opening up the veil, and, we having conversations, and it helps me as your friend and your brother to better serve you, knowing that, sometimes the stress and the anxiety and the pressure,
Yeah.
because, y'all look at us and y'all say, oh, this guy, look at his rank, look at his position, look at his lifestyle, look at the things that he has, and you judge us on that. But the reality of it is that all of us are human. All of us are human. All of us are struggling with something, going through something. Nobody is, nobody gets off the hook. We
Right.
all gonna have to, deal with it. And so with those transitions, again, like you said, your humanity, your frailties, man, you gotta factor that in when you want to go forward. But I guess it's about time for us to pivot into helpful tactics in navigating transitions.
There you go. How about that? So I would think, obviously, you already mentioned it. One of the first things, and most important things, is planning. You have to plan, even if you have not planned in the manner that you wish that you had. You still have to begin planning for this next phase in life. You have to begin letting this go. You have to begin preparing for this side of it. And planning, I think planning is the biggest thing that you need to have in place and be okay with. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was listening to the Social Proof podcast over the weekend, and Danny, so it's David Shands and Danny Wiggins. I think I'm probably butchering her last name.
Names, that's all right.
But she said something that was so revelatory to me. She was like, not only do you need to be working on manifesting, but you need to design your life. And that goes into plan. Like, what do you want it to look like? Like, if I had somebody come in and I said, I want you to redo my house, I want my bathrooms like this, I'll give them a design. And if I'm not able to draw the design, I'll hire somebody, I'll describe what I want. And before they go in and start building the thing, they've got a design to follow. And I think it's just a little too common for us to go into these major transitions without a design for where we want to go. And it don't have to be perfect, but your energy is always going to flow to where you're focused on. And if you're focused on chaos, your energy is going to find that chaos in the transition. Yeah. The chaos is going to be there. Let's not get it twisted. The chaos is going to be there. The difficulties will be there, but what are you focused on? The difficulties or your end game? So,
And just like what you said just now, when you talk about processes, what I like to do is, even when I have the conversation with younger people, um, my thing is, when we talk about success or anything about your processes moving in a certain direction, or what the goals and the hopes are moving beyond where they are, is always go to I like to take them to the end. Where would you like to be? Let's look at where you're trying to get to. Let's look at this first, and then let's work ourselves backwards to see where you are. So now you can line these steps up. But you have to first know where you really want to be, and sometimes you really have to take the time to really put some thought into it, a lot of thought into it. And that's something that, for me, again, being the person who's always looking out for everyone else, I had to learn, and I'm still having to learn, to make that a priority, because I find myself doing a lot of things, and you can do a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're being productive. So making sure that you find out where you want to be, and then start working backwards and putting those steps in place so that you can be productive, as opposed to just being busy. It's easy to be busy. It's very easy to be busy. Exactly. Very
yeah,
easy to be
you
busy.
can be busy. You can be moving, but not going nowhere. We all know what the
Right.
treadmill does.
Treadmill. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you got? What you got, my man?
I really think that that's key too. Man, reverse engineering that process is such a cheat code. Because when you can go backwards and forwards with it, it increases your preparedness. It increases your ability to not only contemplate but anticipate, where the hard spots will be. So like beginning with the end in mind. And I mean, man, we be on the same stuff. You talk about that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
tell me where you are and tell me where you want to go. If you don't know either one of those, it's difficult. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I am in Alexandria, Virginia, and you're in Charleston, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And if either one of those coordinates were missing when we plugged it into the GPS, it ain't going to work.
Right.
Like, you can say accurately, okay, I'm here now, but don't put nothing into where we're going. Or I can say, I'm putting where we're going, but don't put nothing in where I'm leaving from. And those are so important, is to know where you are and where you want to go. So then we can start creating the steps in between. So.
Right. Right. I think another major thing, a major part of that transition too, and being successful with it, is making sure to identify helping agencies and people who can help you in that process. Because there are a lot of places, a lot of people, a lot of resources that are available during the time when you're looking at navigating transitions. And whether that's like our transition that we're talking about right now is a pretty big one, because we're talking about our lives, leaving, what we've done for a very long time, moving into another phase in our lives. But the transition can be smaller, or more compact, where you're looking at quite possibly leaving. Someone could just be leaving a job and moving to another job, not necessarily changing your entire life. Now, a job could be your entire life, but I'm just trying to minimize, make it a little smaller, put it in a box, and say that this is what we're talking about, this one aspect of your life. But because we're talking about life changes, but when you make a transition from one to the next, it's very important to find resources to help you make that transition. So uh, you can make the transition better, easier, more effective, all of those things.
Absolutely. Like, let's take a simple transition. Let's say you
Mhm.
are moving to a different neighborhood. It's a transition.
It's a
So, what are your
transition.
resources? Do you need movers? Are you gonna get your friends out and buy them pizza and beer? Which that don't work at our age. I ain't moving nothing for you for no pizza and beer. Like, it's not happening. But do you need to get trucks? Is there people or organizations that'll donate boxes? Like, all of these things,
Yeah.
if you identify these resources, like if you just go and try to move and I'm gonna lift it on my own, I'm this, that, and the other. No, but if there's websites where they can calculate what you'll need. There's places where they'd be like, look, you can come and get boxes, you can get packing tape. There's all kind of, if you can't afford like the big, I can't think of the big moving companies, but they always come through when we do the military moves. But it'd be like two broke students moving company. You know what I mean? So like identify those resources that you can save yourself so much heartache and so much time and so much physical stress. Because listen, I get hurt my back reaching over to tie my shoes these days. So I know lifting your couch is gonna kill me.
What? Stand up wrong. Like, whoa. My check engine light just came on.
Man,
what's going on?
Am I driving around here with it on?
Telling you, man, the realities of it all.
Yeah.
But recognizing, identifying, resources that can assist you in that transition is very important. And I'm gonna name something else too. I think when you begin making those transitions, that I found to be really helpful for me, and that's like just finding some quiet time, to meditate, to focus, to see where you're going, and allowing things. So I'm a visual person, so it matters to me. I need to see things so I can have an idea of what I'm doing. So just taking the time to be quiet and to meditate on what you're really trying to do, put things in order and line things up for yourself. So I think that quiet time, for me at least, has been really important during this time for me right now.
You said it right there, man. Find some time to reflect, to just take the top off of all of the pressure and just to kind of decompress and let it, because how many times has a transition in life or a situation in life got us up here, like this level stress? And if we just take a little time to breathe, to think about it, to focus, I always find this, today, if it's stressing me out, I don't need, if I can push that decision off to tomorrow, so I can take some time to level down, sleep, relax, and then I can come at it with a clear head. Like it's almost like the cheat code. Every time I felt like the sky was falling, if I just gave it at least 24 hours, that decision that I made at that point worked so much better. So yeah, man, finding that time to reflect, to meditate, to visualize, and just get yourself in a good space about it. That's key, man. That's key.
Absolutely 100%, man. We're walking this thing out right now. We're right in the middle of it, and we're walking it out right now, and it's I feel good about the direction that it's going. I'm also feeling, again, slightly anxious because of the unknown, but it's a good thing. I always look at it from an optimistic standpoint. So I just believe greatness is going to happen for both of us, obviously, for both of us, doing the things that we do. Identifying this is an opportunity for us now. I told someone something along this line, like what I've done in the military is what I felt like I had to do. Now I'm at a place where I'm transitioning to begin doing the things that I want to do. And that time has allowed me to do this, and I've earned it. I've earned this. So it's time for me to put those giftings that God's blessed me with, all those the talents and gifts that I believe God's blessed me with, to move in that direction and do it unabashedly, unapologetically.
My man got mad gifts and skills that he needs to release upon the world.
Listen, you don't know how much I appreciate you, and I tell you this all the time. Listen, transparent moment, very, very transparent moment. There are times when I'll see John calling me. I think I may have said this before on this, or I may have said it on your personal podcast, the Help Myself podcast. There are times when I see John calling me and I'm like, you know what, man, I can't even take your call right now, because I know, for one, You're going to make me accountable to what I said I was going to do. And also, either if I haven't said it, you see it in me. I'm not necessarily feeling it, but you see it in me, and you're going to force me to do what I need to do. And there are times when I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can't do it right now, dog. I can't do it. My energy, I can't do it right now. I can't do it, but I'm going to call you back. And this is what I'm saying as I'm looking at the phone. I'm going to call you back. I promise I'm going to call you back.
We always get back, man, but it's
Yeah.
the way my mind works. Like I see things and I'm just like, I used to be afraid to speak on it, but I'm like, man,
Yeah.
and realize, and what really helped me with that is recognizing my own blind spots. Like I can't see myself.
Right.
People always saying you're this, you're that. I don't see it.
Mhm.
And I think about how clutch it has been in times, brothers like you, man. So, I'm in season 3 of the Help Myself podcast, but after season 1, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. Is it going well? I can't tell. I got something? I talked to this brother. He said, yo, man, whatever financial investment you need to make in it, you do that because you own to something, man. Push forward. And it's been on from there. So it's a mutual thing, man. And,
Yeah.
we're getting past our own little normal time, but I kind of want to just drop one more thing when you're talking about navigating transitions, man. Best case scenario, and I kind of spoke on it a couple of times this week, but our anxiety comes from a place of seeing a event in the future and tying a worst case scenario to it, and then we begin to mentally and emotionally live out that worst case scenario, and our bodies begin to physiologically respond to that worst case scenario. So if our bodies and our minds and our emotions are powerful enough to respond to us building a worst case scenario that, not first off, it has not happened, but second and more importantly, more than likely it won't happen. But we're able to build anxiety based on it because we built it. I think we should make the practice of allowing ourselves to saturate in the best case scenario. And I told it on another podcast, but it is worth saying again here. You ever bought a lottery ticket? John probably hasn't, but I have. And then you get to thinking about, what if that thing hit, and you start thinking about how you're going to spend the money, what you're going to tell your family. Like, am I going to buy a big house, or I'm going to do a medium house so I can have money and I'm going to pay off? And you get in that thing and it get to the point where you might as well have actually won that lottery because mentally you're really there. Well, I say with the actual transitions, the real things that are happening in our lives, it takes some time to just, again, saturate in that best case scenario. What is the best thing that can happen? What am I bringing to the table? And if it happens just like I would desire it to happen, what does that look like? And I'm going to allow that. Listen, I'm not going to be too transparent because who knows who's going to see this, man. Let's just say I got a situation in my life and I have been getting really positive results when I stop stressing about it and I just allow myself to think about, what if that thing took me all the way to the altar? Oh man, I gave it away. I didn't even mean to do that. I didn't even mean to do that. But, and I'm telling you, man, when I just allow that energy, the results, I think my energy just resonates in a different way. So
right. I think sometimes too, even with what you're saying right now is because what I thought of when you said that just now was, there are times when we're afraid of our successes. It's like we're afraid of the success. Like we want the success. Like that's what we say. But then think about it. What if it really does happen? Are you ready to handle that? And that in itself can bring about anxiety in itself. But I still believe, and I will always believe, anyone who I'm connected to, whatever you're doing, I want the best for you. And I've learned to take the time to have those private conversations. Listen, whatever what you're doing is amazing. What you're doing is freaking amazing. And you're not doing a small thing. You're doing a very big thing. Now, I understand the way you may look at it, but I'm telling you from the outside looking in, because while you're in that process, you can't necessarily see it the way I do. But as I stand on the outside and I watch you, you're doing a very big thing. And I just want you to know that I'm proud of what you're doing. I'm amazed by what you're doing because what you're doing is amazing. And I think it's important to encourage people as they go through those things, just randomly. You see somebody that you know that you're connected to, if you see that they're doing something, just give them some encouragement. That may be the very thing that moves them into where they need to be, you know. So that's what I do. That's what I've been seeing, and I appreciate you doing it for me, because you know a lot of times when you do things like that for other people, you don't necessarily have it for yourself. And I absolutely believe people will give what they want to receive in return. So when as I encourage people, as I help people, as I talk to people, as I whatever, I need it myself too. I need it. Yeah. In the process, not at the end, not when things are accomplished and we're like, we're celebrating. No, I need it in the midst of what's going on. That's what I need. So I'm 100% with you, my man. My man, Ayo Cappo.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You did that, bro. You did that, man. Dropping gems.
It's gonna happen. It's not done.
It ain't never done.
It's never done,
man.
It's
This
never
is
done.
historic, man. We broke through a barrier here, man.
You're right.
There's
You're right.
always going to be the fruits of your labor when you break through a barrier.
Yes, sir. I received that. Let's do it. Got you.
Yeah, man. So you know, we gotta floss our Juneteenth.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We're doing our Juneteenth thing. You know, if you're offended by it, why would you be? Why would you be? Come on, it's only truth.
It's only
truth. It's only truth. Come on, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, yeah. My man, I appreciate you, boy.
Man, likewise, my brother. Likewise, man. So you got any closing thoughts before we get up out of here?
Just like to close it and let everyone know that whatever is for you is for you. And no one can take that away from you. Whatever's planned for your life is planned for your life. Do the very best that you can to move in that direction. Keep things as positive as possible and believe that you can succeed in whatever it is that you want to do, because it's just there for you. You have to make a demand on the universe and make that thing happen. So just be positive, move forward, and whatever is for you is for you.
And I'm going to piggyback on that really quick. That thing that you desire, I'm not just talking about some shoes or a video game or a new car or whatever, but I'm talking about that thing in your heart that you truly desire. It desires you too. And so reach out and go for it. I promise you it'll work out. It ain't going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
My man, I like that.
Yeah. So
I like that.
With that, we are out of there. Like,
gone.
All right, my brother, man. We'll see y'all next time.
Next time.
All right.